It is Friday, and you guys know exactly what that means. It's the banner review. We'll be going over the 2 new units for this Halloween. Happy spooky Halloween this weekend, coming up sometime soon. It's not really even this weekend though, is it? Dang, dude, it's like 7 days away still. Anyway, we have Godrea and Karten, both very strong damage-dealing units, very flexible in some rights, and very powerful as well. So if you guys were excited for these units, great, they're going to be strong for you. So let's get into these units for you. First up, we're going to be going over Godrea, the one that people seem to be less interested in than Karten, but is very powerful. And I think it's because of the sprite. People don't like the sprite. I need to see the sprite, you know, in-game, in animations. I kind of want to see what she does. If she just kind of stands around and looks like this the whole time, then yeah, it's going to be a bad time. But if she has some cool, spooky animations, then this Ghostbuster wannabe, it's like the Pope became a Ghostbuster with a giant monocle, and then got a gun from Destiny and put an eye in it from Kingdom Hearts. It stole out of Riku's weapon. That's what this sprite is to me. I don't know. Anyway, let's get in here. The TMR here is the Photon Core. It's going to be an accessory, 40 flat attack with the effect of Photon Core, which is going to give you 50% true double hand, and then 50% Fairy and Reaper Killer. So it's just going to be Martial Glove, but with Fairy and Reaper Killer instead of like the 2 Limit Burst Gauge Crystal per turn. So very strong. If you're still looking for some sort of true double hand gear, you're going to be able to use this very effectively. It is very powerful when you're fighting against Fairies and Reapers as well. So pretty strong TMR here. You know, it's up there, right up there with Martial Glove. So anytime you saw any of my old TMR lists, and you know, Martial Glove or Kingdom Hearts Clouds TMR was in there, Photon Core will be right there with those ones. For Super TMR, here's the GE98 Photon Gun, 177 attack, 2-handed gun. I've said that word too many times, so you know, I probably got demonetized already, but it has the effects of First Aid Knowledge, as well as the abilities of Energizing Shot and Restorative Shot. So First Aid Knowledge here is going to just give you the ability to increase the healing potency of items by 100%. Energizing Shot is going to give you the ability to use an item on all allies, Ether, Turbo Ether, Mega Ether, or Energizing Shot. And then Restorative Shot is going to give you the abilities to use Potion, High Potion, X Potion, Y Potion, or Restorative Shot on your entire team. So it's the Energizing Shot, Restorative Shot thing's kind of whatever. It's pretty cool. But what this does do, the cool things about this is that you can put this on like another character, because she kind of already has these capabilities out in her own kit, Godrea does, where she can use these abilities. But if you got this, you could put this on like just any sort of 2-handed damage dealing gun user, and you could give them not only the ability to use like Mega Ethers and stuff like that, and potions on your whole team, but they'll also get the First Aid Knowledge to increase the healing potency of those as well. So, you know, gives your characters a little bit of added utility. I won't say you need to go out there and get it and it's insane or anything. I don't even think it's really that crazy. You know, the best part about it is 177 attack, 2-handed weapon, but it is neat. You know, neat is the word I would use to describe this Super TMR. It wouldn't make any top 10 lists, anything crazy like that, unless it was like top 10 unique effects on Super TMR or something like that. But that's going to be her TMR and Super TMR. Now let's go down into her kit here. She can wear guns, throwing weapons, and daggers. Armor selection, she can wear pretty much anything outside of robes and shields. So pretty cool there. She's got both hats and helms. This is the thing that I like to see the most often, is where you can use hats and helms, and light armor and clothing as well. Now let's get into her kit here. All right, I'm going to kind of go over her kit. She's going to have a lot of different, as you can see, chaining families, right? Divine Ruination, Disorder, Bolting Strike, Absolute Zero, Chaos Wave, Absolute Mirror of Equity. And she's going to have, you'll catch on to exactly what she does. So she's got Charge, Photon Laser. She's got these skills with Charge. She's going to have something that allows her to dual cast Charge skills. This first one here is just a Chain Finishing Attack 2.0 mod with Ignore 50% defense. The next one is going to eventually be her best skill, and it's going to be a Charge of Plasma Laser 3.0 mod with Ignore 50% defense, Divine Ruination, and it's AoE. So very strong there. And it's because she adds a lot of multipliers to all of her charge skills. This one here has the highest modifier base with Ignore 50% defense added onto it. This Ignore 50% defense is huge because of all the added modifiers that she has. This is going to double those effectively. That's just how the math works. You guys know that if you've seen any of the banner reviews by now, that's why this is going to be her best one. She does have a Libra that is an attack, defense, magic, and spirit buff for 5 turns all allies, so she has a little bit of support there. She's got Charge Radioactive Laser. This is her Disorder Chaining Frame family, 7.5 modifier. Here's her Energizing Shot and Restorative Shot. Does the same thing, that the Super TMR allows her to do, but she already has access to those skills through her own kit, so that's why I said her Super TMR wasn't like super insane for her or anything like that. Then she's got Charge Ultraviolet Laser. This is her Bolting Strike one. And she's got the Absolute Zero Chaining Frame one, then the Chaos Wave Chaining Frame one. All of her stuff down here is 7.5 modifier. She's got Radio Hypnosis. She's got inflict random status ailments to all enemies, so nothing really insane there. Then she's got her Absolute Mirror of Equity Chaining Frame family, at 7.5 modifier, still there for you as well. So you can see all of her stuff right here, 7.5 modifiers, except for her Divine Ruination one. This is her weakest one on paper. Until you get through the rest of her kit, this is going to be a 6.0 modifier. All the other ones are 7.5s, but this one will eventually be the strongest modifier that she has access to. And we'll get into it right here. You'll start seeing why. Now she's got these Activate skills as well. She has Activate Radioactive Cartridge, Activate Ultraviolet Cartridge, blah, 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 blah. What these are going to do, like Activate Radioactive Cartridge here, increases physical damage against fairies by 50% for 3 turns to the caster. Increase defense and spirit by 130% for 3 turns to the caster. If you use this after Activate GE98 Photon Cartridge, all of these skills that we're going to be going over have this for the most part here. It's going to change its name to Activate Photonized Radioactive Cartridge. So it basically just becomes a better version of the skill. We've seen this stuff before. And all of the skills that, when activated in their photonized state, are going to give a 2.0 modifier to all of her damage dealing skills. And these all stack. And they're for 9,999 turns. So they're going to be there forever until she dies. And they cannot be dispelled either, which is very important. And then they also give a better version of the base effect. So the Fairy Killer is going to be AoE Fairy Killer for physical and magical damage, and then it's going to be 150% defense and spirit buff. Her next skill, Ultraviolet Cartridge, is going to be Undead Killer with an attack and magic buff to herself. If you use it after GE98 Photon Cartridge, these skills are a mouthful, excuse me. The Undead Killer is AoE, and it's a 150% attack and magic buff for 3 turns to all allies, and you still get that 2.0 modifier increase. The next one here is going to be Nitrogen Cartridge, which is going to be the first of her 3 different imperils, alright? So she's got a 75% imperil with a 5-turn Ice Imbue to herself, and then a 2.0 modifier increase. These ones do not get upgraded, these 2 activate skills here. So you can just use these freely whenever you want to. She's got an ice version, a dark version, and a water version. All of them are 75% imperil. All of them imbue themselves to the respective element, and all of them give a permanent, well, 9,999 turn, pretty much permanent, 2.0 modifier increase as long as you don't die to all of those skills. And then as you can see, she's got Kinetic Multiplier here, which allows you to dual cast any of her charge or activate skills. So it's not all of her skills. You can use Energizing Shot, Restorative Shot, or Radio Hypnosis, basically, but any of the charge or activate skills, which is the rest of her kit, you're going to be able to dual cast here. Now her next skill is going to be Activate Atomic Energy. Like I said, guys, if you're not using this as a podcast, you can see the screen right now. You can see this takes up the entire screen almost. Alright, so it's Activate Atomic Energy is going to cure attack, defense, magic, and spirit break from the caster. And then what it's going to do is it's going to next turn auto-cast a skill, and then auto-cast a skill the turn after that, then auto-cast a skill the turn after that, and then after that, and then after that. And what this is going to do, it's going to give you a base effect of a 1.0 modifier increase for 1 turn to all of her charge skills. And it's going to give you a 130% attack and defense buff for 1 turn to all allies. And then what's going to happen after that is these buffs are going to continuously grow stronger for a while. So the turn after that's going to be a 1.5 modifier increase, and then 140% attack and defense buff. And then a 2.0 modifier with 150% buff. And then a 2.5 modifier with 160% buff. And then it goes down a little bit to a 2.0 modifier with 170% attack and defense buff for your entire party there. I don't know why it doesn't go up to 3.0. It's a little weird. It's like 2.5, yeah, we're getting there, and then down to 2.0. But that's not that big of a deal. She has a lot of ways to increase the modifiers to her skills here. Her next one here is going to be Activate GE Photon Cartridge. This is the skill that you wanted to use, remember, to buff up these other ones up here, right? You need to use this after to get the 2.0 modifier. And you can do that, like on turn 1, you can use this cooldown skill we're about to go over, and then go up here and use the Activate Radioactive Cartridge or Ultraviolet Cartridge or whatever it is that you want to do on turn 1. What this is going to do, 5-turn cooldown available on turn 1, 250% attack buff for 4 turns to the caster, increase physical damage against fairies and undead by 75% for 4 turns to the caster, enable skill for 4 turns for 1 use to the caster, Photonized Elixir, and enable skill for 4 turns to the caster, Quantum Charge. We'll go over Quantum Charge and Photonized Elixir a little bit later, but yes, they do what you think that they do. Alright, Activate Photonize Nitrogen Cartridge, 3-turn cooldown available on turn 1. Add Ice Element to physical attacks for 3 turns to 1 ally, as well as yourself. So it's going to be kind of like our old man Galuf here, where she imbues one other person, then imbues herself. And it's going to give a 3.0 modifier increase for 9,999 turns to the caster. Cannot be dispelled to all of her damage dealing skills. And she has 2 other similar skills, one for dark and then one for water. So she's got an Ice Imbue, Dark Imbue, Water Imbue for her and someone else, and each of these will put a stacking 3.0 modifier on all of her skills. I told you guys she's got a lot of these stacking modifier increases. She looks like she might be hard to use. She's really, really not, though, and we'll go over that at the end. All right, so let's go over her effects here of her passive. She got, not very many passives, thankfully. Photon Charge here, attack defense, MP, and spirit 20%, 30% attack when equipped with a gun on top of that, and then 50% true double hand. Increases the potency of healing items by 100%, HP defense and spirit by 30% when equipped with clothing. Increase physical damage against fairies and undead by 25%. Chance to counter physical or magical attacks, 20% chance each. With KZ 29, a first aid kit. That sounds like the first aid kit some radio station has under their desk somewhere. Autocast Anomaly Detector every turn. Marvelous Invention increases the potency items of healing items by 300%. Yeah, increase potency of healing items by 300%, which is going to look at those potions and mega ether. She can do a real mana battery job. Huge, because that's 400%. 400%. So Ilias is out there crying his sweet tears. So she can be a pretty good mana battery for you just by popping up a couple items. And also remember that in global, we have they're not easy to just go out and get a bunch of, but we have the expedition system. And if you're doing the expedition system still, you're still farming out relics or whatever, make sure you try to go and get the special expedition healing items, because those ones are already AoE and they're pretty powerful, pretty potent. I think there's one that's like 100 and something MP. To your whole party or something, like 100, 150. That's also going to get increased by 400%. So you're looking at, 600 MP just popping an item to your whole party. I think there's an HP healing one as well there. So keep that in mind. So she's got good damage, and she can also like back up heal your whole party as well. Then a 30% attack and defense buff, 20% HP and MP buff. She's immune to blind, sleep, paralysis, confusion, and petrify. TMR and Super TMR equipped, 30% attack. She's going to get that 100% counter chance, 100% true double hand, decreases MP used by 30%, and then activates atomic energy at the start of the battle, which is the skill that we went over, the stacking over time, increasing attack defense buff for your whole team. So she's going to start with that skill automatically, right? You don't even need to cast this skill at the start of the fight. She's going to auto cast this. So start of her turn, she's going to cure all of her breaks, and then she's going to start the turn after that, just start doing these increased modifiers and start giving an attack and defense buff to your whole party just for the battle starting, all right, as well as when she gets revived, because that's how those work. MP plus 20% here, and then the last one here, the 7th Keeper of Time, attack and spirit 30%, 40% attack when equipped with a gun, 75% true double hand, and 75% physical fairy and undead killer, and then 10% auto refresh. So how much does she have true double hand here? Was it 225%? What a weird number to rest on. 225% true double hand, because there's no, I'm sure there's probably something out there. It's like, how there's a 25% true double hand. You can use Killian's scarf or something for 25% true double hand or whatever. But no, yeah, 50 here, and then 100, and then 75. So yeah, 225. Weird. Okay, yep, we did that for sure. And then her conditional skills here. KZ9's 29 first aid kit recovers 20% HP to herself, and then cures attack, defense, magic, and spirit break to the caster. Anomaly detector increases physical damage against fairies and undeads by 20% for one search to the caster. This is a buff, so if you have something else that can buff up your fairy and undead killer, that's going to overwrite this weaker 20% buff. This is atomic energy still. This is the autocast, same thing. Photonize elixir allows you to use the item elixir on your entire party. So she is going to have that for 4 turns for 1 use. So not only can you use, her 400% healing modifier on healing items in combination with, some strong healing items, she also just has elixir to fully HP and MP heal your entire party as well. Quantum Charge is forecast any of her charge skills, and then Kinetic Trigonometry is any of her charge or activate skills. Okay, so this is a pretty big difference. So her charge skills are her damage dealing skills, her activate skills are her buffing skills, and you can triple cast any combination of the activate and charge skills. But if you want to quadricast, It's only her damage dealing skills here. So let's go down to her limit burst here. Ectoplasm, Extermination's definitely a Ghostbuster. 24 limit burst crystals. It's a 25 times multiplier, so nothing very hard hitting there. But also decreases ice, water, and dark resist by 120% for 5 turns to all enemies, and it gives you kinetic trigonometry. So she's out here doing math, which we like to see that in the classroom. So what does this mean about this character? How is this character going to flesh out? Should you pull for this character? If you do get this character, is she bad? Is she good? Like what is going on here? And what is the multiplier of her plasma laser? So as you can see here, if you've been following with the review, she likes to buff up the multipliers a lot, and she's going to be not the fastest character in the game, but not really that slow either. So she's going to start with Kinetic Multiplier here. She's going to be able to dual cast. She also will be able to unlock Quadricast Quantum Charge on turn 1 as well, right? Because you can dual cast, activate Photon, yada yada, right? And then get Quantum Charge. Although you don't really want to use Quantum Charge right away, because what you want to do is you want to build up her multipliers. So let's see what you can get her multipliers to. In theory, what is the maximum multiplier you can get? We'll go with 2.0 because it's an average between these three right here. So 2.0 here, right? 2.0. I think it goes up to 56. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We're going to miscount, so it's going to blow me back. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 modifier increase. I think I skipped something somewhere. I thought it was like a 20, whatever. Anyway, say 21, 23 modifier increase. If 21 modifier increase, no, we messed up on something, but this goes up to like near a 50 times multiplier. Her charged plasma laser, and she can quadricast it. Absolutely hard hitting, true double hand, divine ruination, something massively big there. I'm just looking to see if I missed anything else. I don't think so. This is going to be 1, 2 here. Let's count it up again, team. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Nice. We skipped that one because we already counted it. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, so we didn't miss anything. So yeah, it is just under 50 times modifier. So if you max it out, it's going to be a 21 modifier increase, which takes us to a 24 modifier, and then it's got to ignore 50% defense. 48 times modifier. Now, will you ever realistically ever hit a 48 times multiplier? You could, but it's not going to happen right off the gate, because let's see what you need to do in order to get this to happen. So you need to have activate radioactive cartridge, activate ultraviolet cartridge, activate nitrogen cartridge, activate ionic cartridge, activate excimer cartridge, the water one. Then you need to have that'll be rolling on its own. That's fine. Then you need to have activate photonized nitrogen cartridge, photonized ionic cartridge, and photonized excimer cartridge. So you need to cast 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9, because you need to have access to activate photonized radioactive cartridge. So you need to cast 9 skills to get it to a 48 times modifier. She starts off with dual cast. So you're gonna be probably get like 6, 7 of the 9 out by turn 3 and start popping off with quadricast. So you can probably get this to like a 40-ish times modifier, 30-something times modifier on turn 3. So what you're really gonna want to do with her, if you're gonna use her, she is very flexible. She's got bolting strike, absolute zero, chaos wave, mirror of equity. But really what she wants to be used in Divine Ruination, and she really wants to be used with a copy of herself, because no one else really works like she does, where they just she's kind of like Bart's almost, where she takes a bunch of turns off at the start of the fight. If she had triple cast at the start of an encounter, that might be something else. If you have a team comp where you can like give AoE limit burst crystals to your party, right? Pop her limit burst off on like turn 1, turn 2, something like that, and then start kinetic trigonometry where you can triple cast her skills, then you're going to be good to go, because you'll be able to triple cast whatever it is that you want for the next couple of turns. How many turns did it unlock? For 5 turns. So you're going to be able to triple cast a whole bunch of stuff, get in there, and then start spamming out that 48 times modifier, no problem. The last thing about the 48 times multiplier is that if you want to get that full modifier, you have to be doing ice, dark, and water damage all at the same time. So what this means is if a boss is, neutral to ice, neutral to dark, but absorbs water, well, you can't get this modifier increase on her, because once you add water to the equation, the boss is going to start doing or absorbing the damage if they absorb it, or you know, they're resistant to it, so you're going to be doing less damage in that regard. So you'll have like a 46 multiplier if the boss is immune to water or absorbs water or whatever. And then if he's like immune to dark and water, then you're, you know, down from a 48 to a 44. If it's all three, then you don't get to use these multiplier increases at all. So keep that in mind as well. So yeah, you'd be missing out if he's immune to all of them. It's a 4, 8, 12 modifier detriment that you'd be missing out on. So keep that in mind as well. So she isn't bad. She's actually really strong. It's just she's flexible, but she's really not as good. If you're not using her for Divine Ruination chaining, then I mean, she's not nearly as good, right? Because even if you got a 21 modifier on these down here, this makes them 28.5s, which is not bad. That's like still really good at max level. It's probably gonna be around, you know, more of like a 15 modifier increase, honestly, which is kind of where we are around with a lot of the other characters, right? 22 times multipliers there. And then if you're using Divine Ruination, even with a 15 modifier increase, that's still a 36 times multiplier. It's still very, very powerful, very, very strong. And she does have strong utility. Remember, she comes with a free attack and defense buff that scales with your team. She does have a full 100% buff if that's something that you really, really want, right? Maybe you make her your sole buffer, because you can dual cast this stuff because it is an activate. So you know, you can make her you know, like a weaker buffer. Buffs are pretty good, but like probably the least important thing when it comes to survivability. And then she does have the ability to be an HP and MP battery for your team as well, on top of doing damage. So keep that in mind. She's very, very situational, very flexible, very good character. So if you like her, you ended up with her, congratulations. You can go in there and start using her and add a bunch more God to your friends. Now let's talk about the one that everyone has on their mind, Karten. Karten looks dope. Listen, he's got werewolf feet though, and like werewolf hands, but like a human face. I don't understand that part. Dude looks like that dude straight out of that like Evanescence music video from like 1992 that everyone watched. Not the Wake Me Up one. All right. Everyone called him like anime werewolf Setzer. Nah, dude, he's that dude. If I can find it, I'll put it in. But you know, if you know who I'm talking about, dude, you know what's correct. Although he's got more white hair than that other kid did. But anyway, here, Chaining Family, Bolting Strike, Absolute Mirror of Equity, Divine Ruination, and a Royal Ray. All right, a Royal Ray. So let's get in here. Is he going to be good enough? His TMR is a super TMR. Let's get that right now. His TMR is a super TMR. 35 attack, 30 defense, effective Eternal Bloodlust. Increase attack by 50% when equipped with a fist weapon. This is a super TMR. We have two other things that do exactly what this does, build-wise, and they're super TMRs, right? Adam Jensen's Trench Coat. 35 attack, clothing or light armor or whatever it is. It gives 50% attack when equipped with a gun. Then we have like Fate's TMR, Fate's super TMR, right? It's like light armor, clothing, whatever it is. I think it's called Fate's Clothes, so it's probably clothing. 30-something attack. I think it's 38 attack, 50% attack when equipped with a sword. This is 35 attack, 50% attack when equipped with a fist weapon. This is a super TMR tier TMR. Straight up, it does exactly the same things, although with fist weapons, that super TMRs that exist in the game do. This is insane. It's so strong. Very, very good. I don't much wow, you know, all the doggers, poggers, doggers. If you get him, you're gonna be getting it. So that he's already got some high. She's got some plus ones. I'm raising my thumbs in the air right now. His super TMR is the Wild Fang Heirloom, and this is good too, although it's not as necessary. So he has a time-limited unit, right? Getting 4 of him gives you the Wild Fang Heirloom. There's lots of ways to build him, and Wild Fang Heirloom is just a fist weapon, one-handed non-elemental fist weapon, 170 attack. It gives you the effect of Wild Fang Claws, which gives you 50% true dual wield. So very strong, but we can compare this directly to something else that exists. Aurora Lightning's Super TMR, which is a sword, 169 attack, so 1 point less attack. But is a sword, so maybe a little bit more flexible, and she's not time limited. So if you want something like this, some true dual wield on your on a weapon, then you know what, I would say don't pull for 4 of him if you're gonna leave that. Should I pull for 4 more? Should I get Wild Fang Heirloom? No, you don't need to. If you do get it, congratulations, you're going to use it on him. It's going to be insane. But you don't really need it. There's lots of ways to get that extra 50% true dual wield. And I say extra because that's all he needs in his kit. All right, let's get down in here. His equipment selection, let's go over this really quick. Daggers, swords, hammers, spears, and fist weapons. This is pretty cool. He can use spears, so he can use Longinus. He's going to be a true dual wield unit. He can use fist weapons as well, so you have the access to what is it, the Tiger Claws. So him being true dual wield, if you've been keeping up with your Reborn bosses, the Reborn Trials, there's a lot of strong single-wield weapons, so one-handed weapons from those Reborn bosses, you know, Lich and Ultros and Typhon and stuff like that. He doesn't have katana, sadly. I would love a katana-wearing werewolf, but you know what? I understand why he doesn't have that. His armor selection, he's got hats and helms, robes, light armor, and clothing. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be wearing his own TMR with a fist weapon on. But yeah, let's continue down in here. So his kit here, he's got the full moon thing going on. Full moon, bestial wrath. All right. All of these skills that we're going to talk about, they're all going to be upgraded after full moon savage awakening. Most of them don't really matter that much, so keep that in mind as well. So full moon bestial wrath is like a small multiplier here. 120% attack buff, bolting strike, chaining frame family. If you use it after Savage Awakening, what these skills do is that sometimes their multipliers actually go down a little bit, as most of the times they go up by a little bit as well. But what you'll see, the main difference here is the unbuffed version is a 2.5 multiplier 9-hit skill. The buffed version is a 0.5 multiplier on the first 8 hits, and then a 3-point multiplier on the last hit. So what this does do is that it breaks it into two different actual multipliers. So if this skill does get, let's say, a multiplier buff, it applies to both portions. But also heals you a little bit and gives you 200% attack buff for 2 turns. Really, this skill you're not going to use that much. Bestial Slash is going to be a 2.4 multiplier, ignore 50% defense, bolting strike animation. If you use it after Savage Awakening, that multiplier is going to go down to 2.0 overall. But it's going to be split up, like I said, into 2 different parts, and both those parts are going to have ignore 50% defense. This also will heal you by 1500 HP. He has Full Moon Ravenous Appetite, which is like a Lance type skill, where he will do a 2.0 multiplier and then drain some HP. Full Moon Feign Weakness is a 100% provoke and a 40% physical damage mitigation for 3 turns to the caster. He's not a tank. This is like his really own tanky. This is like the only tanking kind of skill that he has. So I saw people out there, I gotta make him a tank. I mean, you can make him a tank. He's about as good as a tank as if I took my CG Barts, gave him a Golem and provoked. You know, that's about as good as a tank as any other damage dealer with Golem provoke, and maybe like Moogle plushie. You can do it, but that's not really what he's about. Full Moon Shadow Fire. Fire and dark physical damage 4.0 multiplier to 1 enemy. Increased fire and dark resistance. Resistance increase. Okay, not in peril. This is a resistance increase for himself by 100% for 3 turns. If you use it after Savage Awakening, the multiplier, like I said, gets split up. It's going to heal yourself for 2000 HP, and it's going to be a 100% fire and dark resistance buff to your entire party instead of just himself. And this one is going to be Absolute Mirror of Equity, chaining frames. Full Moon Terrifying Howl. Dark physical damage 3.0 with ignore 50% defense. Decrease dark resist by 75% for 3 turns to 1 enemy. If you use it after Savage Awakening, multiplier gets split up into 2 different hits. It's going to heal yourself, and it's going to be a 100% dark imperil to all enemies. And this is the bolting strike chaining frame family. He also has Full Moon Cursed Blood. Recover 2000 HP to 1 ally. Add dark element to physical attacks for 5 turns to 1 ally, and fix damage to yourself. So you can dark imbue somebody else, heal them a little bit, and you know, kind of do damage to yourself. This is pretty cool. I like the thematics for this character and the other characters as well. Godrea, they're very thematic. If you look into the names and stuff, what they do, like Full Moon Cursed Blood, it's almost like he's like cursing you, healing you with a curse. Like he's giving you the dark element, he's giving you the HP, and it's like doing damage to himself. So I don't know. He's somehow transferring his werewolf curse onto an ally. Full Moon Frenzy, 4.5 multiplier to all enemies. If used after Savage Awakening, the multiplier gets split up in 2 different hits. All right, physical damage goes up to a 5.5 multiplier total. 2000 HP recovery, and it's going to be the Aurora Ray chaining family. And then Full Moon Dark Side, dark physical damage 3.0 to defense. To defense, ignore defense. Excuse me, guys. This is a long worded review. It really is, dude. No cuts today. Dark physical damage 3.0 multiplier with ignore 50% defense to 1 enemy. Add dark element to physical attacks for 5 turns to the caster. If used after Savage Awakening, that multiplier gets split up into 2 different hits. It's going to recover 2,000 HP and add Dark Element to physical attacks for 5 turns to the caster. This is going to be Bolting Strike. Dual Claws is going to give you dual cast any of his skills, and we're not done yet. We have Blood Cleanse. Fixed damage 2,000 to the caster. Cures attack, defense, magic, and spirit break to the caster as well. Increase resistance to attack, defense, magic, spirit break for 5 turns to the caster, and enables triple claws for 3 turns. So something else that can give you triple claws. If dual claws gives you dual cast, guess what triple claws does? If you guess triple cast, you're probably right. Full Moon Bestial Barrage. This makes me reminds me of Wolverine from the old arcade cabinet. Zaza Barrage, Zaza Barrage. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but if you do, let me know in the comment section down below. Stars and Stripes, Stars and Stripes. Shield Bash, Shield Bash. The old, what is it? I think it was just Marvel. I think it was the first Marvel versus Capcom ever, or something. I don't know what it was. It was X-Men versus Marvel. I think it was X-Men versus Marvel. That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, Full Moon Bestial Barrage. 0.5 multiplier, ignore 50% defense to one enemy in the first 8 hits. Then it's going to be a physical damage 3.5 multiplier with consecutive damage increase 3 times, 1.5 multiplier increase each time. So it goes up to an 8.0 multiplier max on that last hit. This is the chain family of Bolting Strike, and this is going to be one of his main damage dealing skills. As you can see, his first 7-star skill, Full Moon Crimson Blitz, is a 6-turn cooldown available on turn 1. Physical damage 12 times multiplier with ignore 50% defense to one enemy. Decreases their defense by 60% as well. And then it gives a 2.0 multiplier increase for 4 turns to Full Moon Bestial Barrage. This also is the Bolting Strike chaining frame family. So these multiplier increases, they're going to go to the top part and the bottom part for Full Moon Bestial Barrage. The top part also has ignore defense on it, so the top part's going to get it and then multiply that multiplier increase by 2, and then the bottom part's going to get it. So whatever sort of multiplier increase you see down here is going to be effectively triple of this. So this is going to be like a 6.0 multiplier increase to Full Moon Bestial Barrage, which is very strong. Then we have Frenzied Rampage, which is a skill a lot of people I'm pretty hyped for. I was okay, hyped for it as well. It doesn't say it here, but I'll tell you guys how this works, all right? So this is going to be Frenzied Rampage, 11-turn cooldown, available on turn 1. Inflicts Berserk with an increased attack by 100% for 1 turn to the caster. Physical damage 99 times multiplier to all enemies. Chance to counter physical attacks taken by all allies except for the caster, with a 100% chance to counter with a 5.5 multiplier for 3 turns to the caster. You can counter 3 times each turn. Then enables triple claws for 3 turns to the caster here as well. It doesn't say this on the wiki, but in game and even in the news, it does say attacks 1 times regardless of equipment conditions. He is a true dual wield unit, and this is a cooldown skill. So not only can he not dual cast it, but true dual wield or any sort of dual wielding mechanic, usually when you're dual wielding, right? When you use a skill by itself, it'll cast it 2 times. Frenzied Rampage will not cast 2 times. Okay, will not cast 2 times. So keep that in mind. You're only going to attack with 199 times multiplier. You're not going to attack with 299 times multipliers unless this gets changed since the recording. But since the in-game news said that it would only attack 1 time regardless of conditions, I don't see that. I don't see that changing. But yes, so you know, it does hurt how, like, when I was like, oh, when I first saw him, I was like, oh man, that's really cool. That's going to be insane. That would be so good. It still is really good, 90 times 9 times multiplier. But you know what's better than a 99 times multiplier? 198 times multiplier. That's what's better than a 99 times multiplier. But it is still very strong. And the Inflict Berserk, all right, is what makes this hit so hard. Because Berserk is a status effect. I think it's status effect. It's not an ailment. It's like some sort of condition, right? Status condition. The attack 100% buff is attached to the status effect of Berserk. The status condition of Berserk is what I want to use there. Which means that if you have, you know, like a 200%, 250% attack buff on your character, normally if you have like another 100% buff, like buffs don't stack. But since Berserk gives you 100% attack when you're berserked, that will stack. So you'll go up to a 350% attack buff in that circumstance, and then you'll hit him with that banger 99 times multiplier. So yeah, and you do get the buff to the attack with the berserk. before the damage goes off with the skill as well. So very, very strong. The fact that it doesn't attack 2 times with this when you're dual wielding, he would have been like crazy bursty, like probably one-shotting every boss in the game bursty. He still is very, very strong though, even with that change. And the Berserk being 1 turn means when your turn comes back, he's not Berserk anymore, you're free to go. So you don't have to worry about him being Berserk, having to cure Berserk, or anything like that. Very strong skill, and this is the Aurora Ray Chaining Frame family. Full Moon Wild Slasher, physical damage 5.0 multiplier with ignore 50% defense to 1 enemy. Increases the modifier of Full Moon Bestial Barrage by another 2.0. So remember, that's effective 6.0. This is also Bolting Strike there. And then Full Moon Savage Awakening, the thing that we've been seeing the whole time. Every time you use Savage Awakening, your skills get better. This is what it does. 5-turn cooldown, available on turn 1. Physical damage 10 times mod with HP sacrifice of 51%. And then to all enemies there. Cures attack, defense, magic, and spirit break to the caster. Mitigates damage the caster takes by 30%. Increases the modifier of Full Moon Bestial Barrage by 2.0. Remember, effective 6.0. And then unlocks Triple Claws as well. There's also going to be Bolting Strike there for him. Keep that in mind. Now let's get into his passives here. Unnatural Physiology gives him innate dual wielding, 20% attack when equipped with a fist. Gets the unarmed 200% attack bonus. Don't use unarmed. All right, just don't do it. Just put some, unless you got him your day 1 player and you don't have any weapons. All right, then leave him unequipped for the attack bonus. But outside of that, put some weapons on him. Give him dual wield. Heightened Senses, attack and HP 20%. He's immune to blind and sleep. Attack and defense 20%. 50% light resistance. He also gets physical damage killers against demons, humans, and undead. These are 3 pretty big types. Humans and demons are pretty common as far as boss monster types go. Undead, not the most common, but they're still up there. They're still up there. We just had Lich and stuff. Not the most common, but you know, it's not like it's bugs, you know. It's not bugs. Thick Skin gives him 20% attack and HP, 20% defense with clothing or robes, and then he's going to be also immune to Confuse and Petrify. He's going to get 20% more HP. He's going to be Charm immune. He's going to have the ability to counter physical and magical attack with Primal Reflexes, which actually is one of the better counters, I think, in the game. Max 1 per damage type there for physical and magical. Predatory Instincts gives him 40% attack, 30% dark resist, 5% MP refresh. He gets 100% true dual wield attack and the 6.0 modifier cap on the same skill with Unleashed Beast. He's mad. Moving into his, and this is at 6-star, by the way. Moving into his 7-star passives here, his Trust Master Reward / Super Trust Master activated Trust ability. That is a mouthful, and I love it. Which you're always going to have active because his TMR is banana sandwich. 30% HP, 30% MP, 20% attack, and 50% more true dual wield attack. This boy's got 150% passively. He also is going to have ignore fatal damage, 100% proc rate when your HP is above 1%, max 1 time, and 100% increased counter chance. He auto-casts the Lunar effect at the start of the battle. Cursed Bloodline gives him 30% defense. Increases physical damage against undeads by 100% when your HP drops below 50%, max 1 time. Which looks a little awkward, but remember, his cooldown skill, 51% HP sacrifice. This is going to drop him to 49% HP. So you're going to proc this always. So he's got to have another 100% undead killer. And he's going to mitigate physical damage taken by 50% for 2 turns when HP drops below 20%. This is actually a pretty big one here. You know, he's got the not die passive right here. Chance to ignore fatal damage. So if he ignores that fatal damage, he's going to have a 50% physical damage mitigation for 2 turns, which is pretty big as well. 50% physical damage mitigation is really hard to hit. 50% general damage mitigation, there's some characters that can do that, but 50% physical is going to make him a lot tankier. So, you know, you might be able to brute force your way. I mean, seeing that he is a werewolf, that is pretty on par. I like how they built him, where you can kind of like brute force your way through survival by like the enemy almost killing you. You're like, nah, dude, I'm here. Oh, I'm getting my physical damage mitigation up, and then they just can't do as much damage as before, and they can't take you out. So that's something to think about there. MP plus 20%. Precursor of the Shadow. Increase attack by 30% equipped with a fist weapon. And then 50% more demon, human, and undead killer. It also increases the effects of his limit burst. So let's look over his conditional, his counters, all this other stuff. Primal Reflexes, the one I said was one of the better counters in the game. This is what it does. It's a 4.0 multiplier. Divine Ruination Chaining Frame to 1 enemy. But then the reason that it's pretty cool here is that it's going to increase the modifier by 1.0 of Full Moon Bestial Barrage. So this is actually pretty potent. Not only will you be able to, if you have like, you know, 2 Kartens, right, yours and your friends, if they both get hit by some sort of random AoE, they both trigger the counter. They do have 100% counter proc rate and stuff like that. Or 100% counter chance increase. They can counter in, you know, chain up, you know, not do that much damage. A 4.0 multiplier isn't anything to talk about. But build up some Limit Burst crystals for the Limit Burst that they're going to want to use. And then go in there and get that 1.0 multiplier for your best damage dealing increase. Remember, 1.0 multiplier is basically a 3.0 multiplier because it applies to 2 different parts of the equation for the multiplier increase. And then one of those parts has an over 50% defense. So 3.0 multiplier increase just for getting hit on my best damage dealing skill, I'll take that. Triple Claws right here. Triple Claws is triple calls, and man, triple cast any of his skills, any of them, which is huge. Huge. Nice to see that there. Lunar Effect, which is the skill that auto casts when the battle starts or when he dies, gives him 1 stack of Mirage and gives him triple claws for 1 turn. So this is pretty crazy. So he's got the HP can't die passive, right? He's got the 50% damage mitigation, and he comes with a stack of Mirage. So he's gonna be pretty hard to take out with a bunch of physical hits, right? You can dodge the first one and take a couple hits because he's gonna be moderately tanky. Being a true dual-wield unit, you can make him really bulky, especially how fast he gets his attack to max. And then you don't die, and then you self-re-raise, and then you get a Mirage again, and then you don't die, and you get the 50% damage mitigation. Yeah, it seems pretty good, actually. A Lunar Effect out here doing work, for sure. And then we have Lunar Basher, which is a skill that we're skipped right now. We'll go right to the Limit Burst. Moonlit Strike upgraded. Physical damage, 22 times multiplier to 1 enemy, so nothing insane. You know, we're seeing 40, 45 multiplier, 30-something multipliers, you know, whatever. You know, way higher than 22 at this point. Enables skill for 1 use, right? Not for 1 turn. Enable skill for 1 use, Lunar Basher, very important. Enable skill for 2 turns to the caster, Triple Claws, and then increase attack by 300% for 2 turns to the caster, and then evade 3 physical attacks for 1 turn to the caster. So it's not going to do the most damage. He's a true dual unit. The multiplier here is not going to be insane. It costs 35 Limit Burst crystals, but it should probably squeeze its way into your rotation at some point due to the fact of Lunar Basher and unlocking Triple Claws. So what does Lunar Basher do? Lunar Basher here is a 1-hit skill, so it's a chain finishing skill. Inflict Berserk with increased attack of 100% for 1 turn to the caster. Physical damage 40 times multiplier to all enemies. 1-hit skill. Grants the chance to counter physical attacks taken by any of the allies except for the caster by 100% with the effect of the physical damage counter that we talked about before, and then gives you Triple Claws for 3 turns. So this is a way to keep your Triple Claws up as well, and chain finishing skill there, which is pretty powerful, and you're going to get that increased Berserk, so you're going to be able to go in here. I'm assuming that they've designed the character so you can chain finish this, and it's what makes the most sense, right? So you Limit Burst, and then the next turn or the turn after that, or whenever you want to use Lunar Basher, because remember, this isn't enables Lunar Basher for 1 turn, it enables Lunar Basher for 1 use. So as long as you don't die, you're going to have the effect of using Lunar Basher. Then maybe your triple cast runs out, or that you don't have anything else to unlock your triple cast anymore that you want to use, and you go this is or maybe you save Lunar Basher so you can finish the boss off with it because there's a 40 times multiplier and you can get in there for some damage. So you can triple cast something else, right? You can triple cast not Wild Slash, you can triple cast 2 Bestial Barrages into Lunar Slasher, and that Lunar Slasher is going to be a chain finish, 40 times mod, with an increased 100% attack buff. Get in there. There's a bunch of cool stuff that you can do with Karten here. So, Karten, how do we use Karten? Obviously, what you're going to be doing here, 150% passive True Dual Wield. You want to get 50% more True Dual Wield. Doesn't matter if it comes from a Bart TMR, doesn't matter if it comes from Aurora. Radiant Lightning. I always want to call her Aurora Lightning. Radiant Lightning Super TMR, Karten's own Super TMR, Katy Perry's AI Katy Perry's Super TMR is insane for him. Just build him for attack. He's going to have 2 weapons on him. You can use whatever weapons you want. You're going to build those for a combination of HP and attack. And you're going to want to cap his attack out, cap his true double hand, or true to wheel, excuse me, attack out. He gets fist weapon. You're going to want to put a fist weapon on him. His own TMR is going to give him 50% in the chest slot, which is insane. If you have Lucius's super TMR, you can wear that as well to get even more attack in the head slot. Crazy there. But passively, he's got 20% here, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. 90, 100, 120, 30, 40. It's 170. It looks like 170 attack passively. So you're gonna want you have 170 attack passively. So you're gonna need 230 more % attack. 50 that's gonna be in your body slot, so you're gonna be needing 180 attack. And then depending on your item world rolls, you can easily get like 60-ish in your item world weapons. If you're not even using anything crazy, just from the item world effects themselves. So 120% attack with your materia. If you have access to AI Katy Perry Super Team, that's another 40. So you're looking at, you need like one materia to cap your attack out. You're free to do whatever else it is that you want between survivability materia and HP materia and killer materia. So very, very powerful there. And that's why his body piece is so strong in combination with some other effects and TMRs, where you can just hit this overwhelming percentage attack increase in your armor and accessories and weapons, where you can use your materia for whatever it is you want. And that's when you start making like a character that can survive everything. They have all the elemental resistances and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. Very powerful there. As far as the character himself, honestly, like the whole if used after full moon Savage Awakening thing, none of these skills are really that crazy. The only one that is really there is the dark damage one, and the dark imbue one. You do have the 100% fire and dark resistance one. That one's pretty nice. You have the dark imbue with dark side here. You have the dark imperil as well with terrifying howl. So you can go like Savage Awakening on one, and then do like terrifying howl. You can do like Savage Awakening plus Terrifying Howl plus Dark Side all on turn one. I do believe if you really want to, since you technically have triple cast on turn one, and you're casting them after them, just like it does with Katy Perry, where you would use Savage Awakening into the other two skills, and then you'd be able to do some more triple cast stuff like that, where you're going to use like Crimson Blitz and Frenzied Rampage to get the multiplier increase, and then it just kind of goes away from there. I think it gets these skills up to like a 30 times multiplier. I do believe here. So let's check out the multiplier increase. I don't think he has any passively, but he does have them up in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that it? Is this 6? Is it just 6? I think that might be it because of the way that it multiplies on this skill. Is it? I think it is just 6. If I missed one, let me know. I don't think I missed one though. So yeah, we'll go down to Bishop Barrage. So 6.0 multiplier increase here. So this goes up to an 8.0 right here. Plus a 6 would make this a 14. And then 6.0 right here makes it 6.5. Oh, we did miss one. With the counter. The counter makes it set to 7.0 multiplier increase. As long as he gets hit at some point during the game, which is going to be incredibly easy to do because the boss is always hitting your damage dealer or something nowadays. 7.0 multiplier increase. I knew I missed something. Dude in the chat, dude, go edit your comment, guy. I know you paused it and you went down. You missed the counter, Hal. You missed it. All right, so 7.0 multiplier increase here. It's gonna make this. What was it at? Bishop Barrage. Yeah. So 8 plus 7. That's a 15. And then 7 right here. 7.5. Times 2 is also fit. So 30.0 multiplier increase, and this is not hard to get. He does not suffer the same problem that Godrea did by not being able to have triple cast right away. He starts with triple cast. He can re-unlock triple cast. He can get that triple cast off. He just needs to use Full Moon Savage Awakening, which is something he wants to use anyways. He needs to use Full Moon Wild Slash one time, which is fine because it's Bolting Strike. He can just fit that in there whenever he wants. 10.0 multiplier as well, so it's fine. Just lead with that skill there. He also wants to use Crimson Blitz, which is fine. It's a 24 times multiplier. Bolting Strike flows right into his chaining families. Everything's Bolting Strike. All of his main ones are. That's going to be something that you want to use there as well. And then you just want to start casting Bestial Barrage. So really, he's only got, what, 1, 2, 3? He's only got 3 skills he wants to cast before he gets those multiplier increases up there. And then this one unlocks Triple Claws as well, and you'd be good to go there. So he's not very hard to use. If you have someone like one of his best friends, I foresee a lot of people using either Linfina with him or Ignacio with him. Very powerful CG Ignacio is. I see a lot of one-shot potential, even though you can't dual cast this. If you could dual, like, not dual cast or dual wield the Frenzied Rampage, Malphase plus Ignacio plus 2 Karten would have destroyed like pretty much anything that didn't have an HP threshold lock in this entire game, because you just use like Birds of a Feather, and you dual cast like Birds of a Feather and then a 74% or whatever it is defense and spirit break, and then you use Ignacio to give everyone AoE fire imbue with a 180% attack buff, and then you do 110% fire imperil, and then you use your Karten's Frenzied Rampage to take that 180% attack buff up to 280% attack buff, and then just physical damage 99, and you can still do that. You can still probably do that. It's gonna blow people away, and you still have room for 2 more characters in your team if you wanted to for turn 1 shenanigans. But yeah, it's going to be a 99 times multiplier instead of 198 times multiplier. But very strong character. He doesn't, you know, he doesn't need to just use Frenzied Rampage. He's not a one-trick pony. He does do good damage, 30-something multiplier. Very strong, very powerful. As far as utility goes, doesn't really have that much utility. If you're using like a chain finisher with him, right, you're doing like a Karten and then like another chain finisher in a team comp. He does carry the Dark Imperil and a Dark Imbue for that character as well, since he can imbue that character dark, right? If you're using like a non-elemental, you know, Regina or whoever it is in your team that's a big chain finisher, CG Sid, whoever it is, he can do that Imperil and that imbue for them and then be his own damage dealer as well. So he can fulfill a little bit of a role like that. He does have 150% dark and fire resistance buff. That's nothing like super crazy. It's more like a nicety that he has access to there. So very strong character. If you like the sprite, you're going to get a lot of use out of him. He should be, you know, around CG Bart's-ish. He should be at the top of the tier of the physical damage. Not number 1, but he should be up there with the top tier physical damage dealers for sure. You know, Riku, you know, Barth, Lightning, Elena, whatever, all those characters. He's up there with them all. So if you like the sprite, you're not pulling on a weak character. Neither is Godrea. She's not weak either. She's a little bit harder to use than Karten is, and he does do some cool stuff there. So let me know what you guys thought about this down in the comment section below. I know it was a long banner review, but these characters are becoming books now. Maybe I start putting disclaimer, you know, reader beware, you're in for a scare. October is hair. I'm not a rapper. But if you want to see more stuff like this, go ahead, hit the subscription button, turn the notification bell on. You guys are spending a lot of your time here today, and you know, spread the word. Get that channel popping. I'm kidding. Jimmy Flannel, you know, he's still Flannel. Can I call him Jimmy Flannel? Oh my God, I'm out of here. Jimmy Flannel. I talked to